Hello and welcome to the latest Customs Clinic videocast brought to you by Customs Manager. I'm Paul of Sandusky PR and I'm here once again talking to Arne, who is the founder of Customs Manager. Oh, I'm running out of breath. About trading with the EU now that we've left the European single market. So hello, Arne.
Hello to you.
So once again, the aim of our customs clinics are to offer practical advice and guidance on some of the common problems and pitfalls that exporters and importers face when trading with the EU and indeed the rest of the world. So today we're going to be talking about another fiendishly complex area, export controls. Well, hopefully they won't be fiendishly complicated after you've heard from Arne. So Arne, what are export controls?
Yes, what a topical question again, and fantastic to be with you again. Well, look, export controls, two words to it, right? Export and controls is a bit different from what we understand normally under exports. They are restrictions, in fact. They take the freedom of moving goods around the world away. They are imposed by governments, but for good reasons. And what's really crucial is that they are imposed on tangible, grabbable cables and machines, and intangible items. So dots, technology, software. So we've got goods, items, software, not grabbable, and technology. So that's different from a normal export.
Intellectual property and
yeah, knowledge of how to run a machine that is maybe used for so-called dual use, meaning that it could be used for commercial, but it could also be used for military items and for users that are not desired. Okay. The reason we have these controls is because we want to protect national security. We don't want our technology and software and our items to fall into the wrong hands. We want to implement peace around the world. We want to prevent the proliferation of weapons of mass destruction. We want to protect human rights. We want to combat terrorism, and making sure that the goods, the dual use items, the high quality, high technology, high software items do not fall in the wrong hands are absolutely crucial to that. So for that, governments around the world, EU, UK, US, have very strict export controls.
So I guess it's quite a complicated area because, a microchip may seem innocuous on the surface, but maybe, a different application. It could be used for military or nefarious purposes. Mm-hmm. Okay, so there's some pretty important stuff there. And I've heard that the EU is changing its export controls law.
Yes.
So what does that actually mean? What's changing?
So the export control law of the EU is pretty old, 2009, negotiated even before that, and needs an upgrade. So it gets an upgrade, gets new definitions, gets new control parameters, because the world has changed since 2009, right? So now we need to react to that. We need greater transparency, greater enforcement opportunities, but also industry outreach, taking the businesses along. We need more harmonization. We need more simplification than the current process has. We need better information sharing. And that's just the horizontal highlights. The big focus is really on something that emerged over the last decade, and that's focus on cyber surveillance technologies. Certain cyber surveillance technologies allow you to essentially spy into your mobile phone without you even knowing it, right? Wow. And of course, if that happens at global scale, then rogue governments can know where protesters are and send the military. So this is against human rights and all sorts of things. And there have been lots of report in the German and European press, and of course the UK press, about misuses of cyber surveillance technology. So this spyware is now being controlled under this new reform. And in addition to this, on the other side, I would say, the opportunity for businesses to collaborate intra-company, so big multinational companies with multiple subsidiaries around the world wishing to trade technology with each other. There is a new simplification. The EU general licenses that you require to export have now been expanded. We've got 2 new types of licenses allowing us to deal with encryption, so an item that have encryption, and secondly, the intra-community, inter-company transfer of technology is also more streamlined and easier to manage around the world. So give and take, there is more control, there is more opportunity for member states, so the 27 member states, to have national controls. So that's on the not so good side for business, because we like harmonization and clear rules. But on the plus side for business, it's about more flexibility when it comes to carrying out legitimate business, where we get faster access to authorizations. In a nutshell, Paul, there's so much more to say, but in a nutshell, that would be it.
Okay, no, we're all for nutshells on Customs Clinic. No, some good advice there. I get one thing that puzzles me though is that I've been told that US export controls can also apply in the UK, even though an export has nothing to do with the US. I mean, what's that all about?
Yeah, you're right. So the US controls its items where they have US content. So when we have an item that is specifically controlled under the export administration's regulations of the US or the military regulations of the US controls these items even if not in the US, because of the US content that is within the item. So the controls stick to the US item wherever it is in the world. Wow. And that even goes as far as being incorporated into a product that you may produce in the UK. So you use a UK product, you produce a machine in the UK, you use only EU or UK materials, and you add a little bit of US content, a screw, a bit of technology, a component, semiconductor component or whatnot. And that then raises the question, do I now need to apply for a license with the US authorities, even though I'm sending it only from the UK to, say, Germany? Because
so
of
even
US
if
content, this US content that is in the machine. And so it's called extraterritorial controls. US export controls are extraterritorial. They apply even if the US as a country is not involved.
Right. And so basically US law follows the product around the world, even if you're not, even if it's not going to or from the US.
Yeah, and to add to that, it even follows US persons. So when you deal with US people in the UK, well, in a certain way, the US export control regulations hover above them. So you need to consider whenever you speak to US person or share information or let them share information about controlled items that to non-US citizens, that may trigger a control. And of course, as we said before, software and technology is also controlled. So the moment you use US technology and software in the production of a product with US content or without, the same question applies. There is some US stuff around here. Do I need to worry about US export controls and potentially need a license to even export from the UK to, say, Finland? So it's pretty tough.
Yeah, absolutely. A potential minefield if you're not aware of the controls, export controls that various countries, the EU or the US enforce. So thanks, Arne. Once again, some fantastic advice. Hopefully that shed a bit more light on export controls, the changes coming out of Europe. and also for anyone who is thinking about trading with the or coming into the orbit, should I say, of US export controls.
Yes.
Fantastic. Thanks once again, Arne. Until the next time.
Thank you so much, Paul. See you next time. Great to
Bye
talk
for
to you.
now.